Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm bringing you episode 28 of my brand new Comics Haul series. This is a series where each and every week when I head down to my local comic shop and pick up all the new books I'm going to be getting that certain week and just show you guys what I got, tell you a little bit about every single issue. It was a really tiny week. I only got 6 issues, 5 from Marvel, 1 from Image. Let's pull these out of the bag as usual. Now that we've got these out of the bag, let's get the good old bag out of the way. And since it's just such a small haul today, nice small week, just 6 issues, I thought this would be a perfect chance to show you guys some back issues that I got recently. I have a nice little extra haul here that I'll get into quickly after I show you guys the new issues. But as usual, this week we're going to start off with Marvel Comics, 5 issues from them this week. And the first one that I've got here is Defenders issue number 1. This is one I've been anticipating for a little while now. I haven't heard too much about it. I don't know very many details on what it's going to be about, but the main thing that's going on in this series is the Masked Raider finally returning after 2 full years pretty much. If you don't know, the Masked Raider is this character that first appeared in Marvel Comics issue number 1000. It was like this big 80th anniversary Marvel celebration issue that Al Ewing spearheaded, and he's the guy who's writing this issue with art by Javier Rodriguez. But in that Marvel Comics 1000, we saw Al Ewing put together this really amazing story that connected some very classic Marvel issues, and that issue introduced the Eternity Mask, which is what this Masked Raider is wearing. This powerful mask that allows its user to copy the powers, match the skills, kind of like Taskmaster, I guess, of its opponents. And we haven't gotten the identity of the current Masked Raider yet, so my assumption is that that's going to happen in this series. But it's been like 2 years. Marvel Comics 1000 was, I think, in August 2019. But we've also got Doctor Strange on the team, this new character Cloud, who I'm not familiar with, Silver Surfer and Harpy from the Immortal Hulk series. So we'll see what the threat is. I think it's just going to be a 5-issue miniseries. I don't know who the bad guy's going to be, but that's Defenders issue number 1. And next up from Marvel Comics this week, I've got Miles Morales Spider-Man number 29. And this is the Clone Saga Aftermath. So this 4-issue Clone Saga story arc just wrapped up with issue number 28. I won't get into spoilers because some pretty big stuff happened in that. But basically the idea was that there's these 3 clones of Miles. The Assessor, who had recently kidnapped Miles, this weird organization that was doing experiments on him. He got out of that, except they got some of his DNA and they were using it to make clones. So they developed these 3 different clones. But at the end of this, it's looking like Spider-Man's life will forever change. There's a brand new character that could end up being a big part of his life. Like I said, I won't get into spoilers, but this is a really, really great series written by Saladin Ahmed. Art on this specific issue is by, I think his name is Chris Allen. I really recommend this. I don't think that many people are actually buying Miles these days, but Saladin Ahmed has been doing a really, really good job. Alright, next up here I've got Spider-Man Spider Shadow number 5, the big finale to this 5-issue miniseries. It's a what-if comic, meaning that it's a different universe. What if Spider-Man kept the Venom symbiote when he found out that it was a living being instead of just a regular suit, instead of giving it away like he does in the regular Marvel Universe. So throughout this miniseries written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Pascal Ferry, we've been seeing that. What if Spider-Man had kept it? So he goes down this dark path, but in recent issues it took a turn that I wasn't expecting it to, in which Peter Parker escaped the Venom symbiote, but now it's spreading, making offspring, and bonding with other Marvel heroes, and now they're all turning against Peter Parker. I was excited to see the cliffhanger of issue number 4, which I just recently read. So it's Spider-Man Spider Shadow number 5. We'll see how this What If comic wraps up. And next up here for the new issues this week, I've got X-Force issue number 22. Continuing this current ongoing story arc of X-Force. I still haven't read all of issue 21. I think I'm a little bit of the way through that right now. That's the issue that I'm in the middle of. And I saw that X-Force is dealing with some sort of nuclear waste that escaped at power plant. It's infecting the shores, infecting the ocean, so they're having to deal with that. And of course these plant people that we see in the background here. Benjamin Percy has done a pretty decent job on this series overall. There's guest art on this issue by Robert Gill, and it's just looking like the X-Force teaming up once again in the aftermath of the Hellfire Gala, now that the X-Men have control over Mars. There's a lot going on in X-Men. I don't think X-Force is one of the series where there's big announcements or anything, but still, it's been a pretty good series overall. I'm not sure what to expect from this story arc. So that's X-Force number 22. And now for the final issue that I picked up from Marvel Comics this week, it was Fantastic Four Life Story issue number 3, and this issue is the 80s. So the idea of the Life Story miniseries, they did a Spider-Man one that Chip Zdarsky Zdarsky wrote. Now they're doing a Fantastic Four miniseries. Is basically just what if these superheroes had aged in real time? Comic book time is kind of a strange, iffy thing that's never really been explained. These characters that have been around for decades haven't aged more than a few years in their entire history. But what if they did? So it's following a decade in each issue. They cover a lot of time, so there's a lot of events that happen in these issues. But in this specific Fantastic Four centered one, in this universe, we see that Reed Richards had a vision of Galactus. Galactus still hasn't come to Earth at this point in the 80s, except Reed Richards has been trying to push people to get ready for Galactus. He's going to devour our world, but everybody's scoffing at him in the scientific industry. Nobody believes him, and he's just becoming more and more like disheveled as he loses his job, he loses his money. He lost his wife, Sue Storm, because he'd been investigating Galactus so much. So that's Fantastic Four Life Story, issue number 3. And for the final issue of new comics that I got this week, it's from Image. It's Ordinary Gods, issue number 2. I'm going to be honest, I still haven't read issue number 1. A lot of you may know I had to catch up on July reading. Still haven't. I've got a big stack that I have to catch up on. But I'm really looking forward to reading both of these issues back to back. Ordinary Gods looks like it's going to be some sort of series in which these gods have been, sent down to Earth, and they don't know that they're gods. They're just living their life as normal humans. Like, imagine if you yourself suddenly found out that you were a god and you unlocked these different powers. Of course, I don't know what I'm saying. I haven't read this series yet, but from what I've heard from other people, from the descriptions, that's what it's about. Written by Kyle Higgins, who's been doing some good work for Image Comics lately with Radiant Black, his ongoing superhero comic. So this seems like a very different type of comic than Radiant Black. I think it's a totally different concept, and I'm excited to see what they can do with it. So that's Ordinary Gods, issue number 2. And normally this is the part of the video where I would end, but this time I've got a special comic haul from 3 different shops that I visited on my road trip. So a lot of you watched my Comics on the Road series, which was just 4 episodes. I filmed around at different comic shops, but I went to 3 other shops, and I didn't film inside of them. I can't film in all of these. You have to ask if it's okay to film and everything. It's a little bit stressful. So I'll start off with a totally random comic I absolutely was not expecting to find, because this was in a candy shop called Hollywood Candy. It was in Omaha, Nebraska. I was not expecting to find comics there, but it turned out to be this amazing, crazy store. It didn't only sell candy, but also all this other stuff. It was just like a hub for a bunch of different mediums, like comics. So they had this little room. I've got a picture I'll show on screen of these comic books, just random issues. So I picked up this little collection. Predator Kindred. And I was happy to find this collection. It collects Predator Kindred issues 1 through 4, published by Dark Horse Comics. I think this is from the 80s or 90s. And hopefully I'll learn a little bit about Predator. I don't actually know anything about this monster character, but it looks like it has some pretty interesting artwork. I've read a tiny bit of it, but haven't really gotten through all 4 issues yet, obviously. So I'm excited to read Predator Kindred, and it was super cool to find comics in that shop, in that candy shop. It was totally random. And I got this in a bag and board for only $5. I think the original price was something like, $15. So definitely worth it. It's in good condition, and it's just, a nice Predator collection. And then for the other 2 shops that I didn't film inside of, they were just regular comic shops that actually sold new issues and everything. And the first one was Phoenix Comics, located in Seattle. My family stayed there for a few nights, so I took advantage of that, and on my birthday, actually, I stopped by this comic shop and let myself spend a little money to treat myself. So I've got 2 sort of newer issues that came out during July that weren't waiting for me back home here. The first one was Beyond the Breach, issue number 1. I have read this issue. It was really good, by Ed Brisson and Damian Cosiero, and this just had to do with this post-apocalyptic world where suddenly a bunch of monsters swarmed into the real world, and everyone blacked out, and then suddenly when they woke up, all of these monsters were attacking people, eating people. I might pick up issue number 2 if I see it when it comes out this month. I think it probably should come out. And also at Phoenix Comics, I got Dark Blood number 1, issue 1 of 6 from Boom Studios, but it basically had to do with this African-American man who served in the army. He's a veteran. I think he was supposed to have been in the Air Force in World War II, but now he's got these powers that he's been imbued with, and the government is still trying to keep track of him. It was a little confusing. I don't know exactly what the deal is. I think, like I said, it could be interesting, but they just didn't give me quite enough information to get me hooked. And then the last comic that I got from Phoenix Comics for my haul there was Invincible Volume 11, Happy Days. So Invincible is the comic that I've been trying to get these collected editions for a while now. Way back a long time ago, my mom found volumes 6 through 10 on the street and then brought them home to me. So since then I've been trying to fill in my collection. I got 1 through 5. I think I've only read like volumes 1 through 6 at this point, and I'm realizing that the compendium form would be a way better way to actually read through all of this series. But now I'm too deep into getting these single collections, so I gotta keep at it. And finally, the last store that I stopped at before arriving home that I did not film inside of was Stargazer Comics in Tacoma, Washington. And this is by far the greatest haul that I had that I didn't film. Probably the greatest haul I had on that road trip. Really great stack of issues here, all bagged and boarded, so let's get right into it. I was happy to find some of these. But the first one here is a brand new issue that came out just a few weeks ago now that wasn't waiting for me back home. It's Amazing Fantasy issue number 1. I wasn't planning on getting this one, but then I heard some pretty good things about it. The artwork inside looks really interesting. I don't know exactly what it's going to be about, but it should be a pretty weird Marvel comic with different art styles, like sort of an anthology almost, but connecting all of the different stories. And also at Stargazer Comics, I found Aliens Life and Death issue number 1, a very recent Aliens comic under Dark Horse. It's only been like a few months now that Marvel has even had the license to publish Alien comics. They took it from Dark Horse for whatever reason. Who knows what the transaction was behind the scenes, but Dark Horse published Alien comics for like decades. They started, I think it was in like 1980 something, with the first Aliens miniseries, and this is from 2016. I've been watching some of the Aliens movies recently before I could read the Alien comics for Marvel, so I've also been getting some of the Dark Horse stuff on the road trip. And the last bunch of issues that I got here, I was so excited to find for such a good deal. This is a really awesome find at Stargazer Comics. I got the first 8 issues of East of West. So the first one here obviously is just the Image Comics firsts, these reprints that they do of classic Image series that sold well for the first printing, but then they just make it $1 for this extra printing of the issue. So this isn't really worth that much. I got it for the $1 plus the bag and board, so kind of a good deal. But East of West is a series written by Jonathan Hickman. I think it was like 2013 or 2014-ish when he started this. Some sort of like weird apocalyptic world where a bunch of different things happened in history. The guy at Stargazer gave a cool description of it and really made me more excited to read it, but I cannot remember exactly what that description was, because Hickman can get really complicated with his series. But all I need to know is that I've heard really good things about East of West. It looks like almost a Western type of thing based on this cover. I can't wait to get into it, but like I said, I got the first 8 issues, so every single other issue I got here was only $2 each, and these are first printings of the issues too. I also have issue number 3, see if I can fit all 8 on the stand here. Issue number 4. So this is just such a steal. I'd heard good things about the series. Issue number 5, and I just had to get it for $2 an issue with the bag and boards and everything. Issue number 6. Okay, I gotta pull these off. They're not all gonna fit. And then I got issue number 7. And finally, like I said, issue number 8 of East of West. Super happy to have the first 8 issues of this series. I'm excited to get into these as soon as I finish reading all the other comics I need to catch up on. So yeah, hopefully it's interesting, hopefully I'll like it. Let me know down in the comment section below if you've read East of West, let me know what you thought of it. But it should be a pretty interesting Hickman series. Alright, well that's every single one of the brand new comics that I picked up this week, and of course that extra back issue haul. I want to know what you guys got this week though. Let me know down in the comment section below. And you guys already know it's Free Comic Book Day next Saturday. Definitely keep your eyes peeled for a video where I'll be showing off my Free Comic Book Day haul. I'm going to try to get as many issues as I can. And if you did enjoy this video at all, make sure to hit that subscribe button. That's the big red button which is sitting right below this video. You can also hit the notifications bell which is sitting right next to it. You'll be notified every single time I post a new video if you don't want to miss any. So thank you so much for watching everyone. Bye guys.